There's an exciting exhibit at the Dubois County Museum, and it's now open and open for you to enjoy. Hello and welcome to WJTS in.form. I'm your host, Bill Potter. Joining me in the studio is a volunteer with the Dubois County Museum, but the one that is in charge of the Wildlife Adventure Room, Tom Kellams. Tom, welcome to the show.
Well, I'm pleased to be here.
Well, the Wildlife Adventure Room, a new exhibit at the Dubois County Museum, which is a permanent exhibit,
Right.
so it's there forever. What is the Wildlife Adventure Room?
Well, actually, it's a room that consists of animals from throughout the world, artifacts from throughout the world, local animals. I have a couple of eagles in there, birds from, there's about 30 birds in there from all over the world. It just represents conservation. The local, there's a local picture there on the wall of Patoka Lake, and in front of that is an array of a lot of local animals, small animals that's been got here in the county.
What people probably are going to remember the most about the Wildlife Adventure Room is, though, Mr. Fromey's animals.
Right, that's the way that it sort of developed. A family had called me and seen if I'd help them get rid of them, and so I did. Got them and stored them for quite some time, and then got started on the room. Went out and talked to people in the public, and businesses, individuals started donating. In fact, it got to the point that I wasn't asking, the people were coming to me, which was good.
Sure.
And so everything in there pretty well has been donated. And financially, there were carpenters that were retired carpenters. They came in and did a lot of the work. There were some that had jobs, but they would come in on Saturdays and after hours, and everybody took an interest in it, and it just developed from there.
Now, Frank Fromey was a big game hunter from
Right.
Dubois County. You know a little bit of the history of Frank Fromey?
Well, a little bit. I knew him back when he had his museum out on 36th Street, and he told me some pretty wild stories. Already.
I'll bet.
And so, yeah, I do Frank. And the family really didn't want to see it. Frank had passed away. He was a contractor. He passed away a few years ago. They didn't want the animals to leave the county.
Okay.
They wanted everything to stay here if possible. So we were quite fortunate here to have received what he had.
What are some of the animals? And I've seen some of them because at one time we actually stored them in the building that WJTS is located in now. But
right.
Let's talk about some of the animals that Frank Fromey had.
I think probably the one that attracts the most attention is the polar bear. Mm-hmm. And I may be wrong, but I tell a lot of people we probably have the only polar bear in Dubois County. But
probably true.
But the polar bear stands probably 10, 12 foot tall. And it's amazing when you walk in and you stand there and look up. Little children they just love that polar bear. Mm-hmm. But there are several bears. There's mountain lions. There's cougars. There's all kind of African artifacts that Frank had gotten. Mm-hmm. I have a mammoth elephant leg bone.
Okay.
This was given by someone else, but it's a part of the exhibit in there. So that's a portion of Frank's items. There's just a lot of things from Africa that he had brought back.
How many animals do you think are on display?
Well, the 30 some odd probably from Frank, and there's probably another 25 to 30 of local animals, mm-hmm. and most of those are small animals. I have local deer, albino deer. Albino coon, which is unusual,
yeah,
and a lot of things like that. What we did there's a mural. It's about 10 foot tall, and it's about 38 foot on the width of it. Okay. And Tom Shum, local artist, went up to Patoka Lake, took a series of pictures, came back, put the pictures together, and painted that scene. So that is actually Patoka Lake. Wow. Scenery, and that is in the back side, and then in the front there's an area built out where a lot of the small animals locally are located on there.
Now, the Dubois County Museum is an amazing facility to have in Dubois County, in any county, in the state of Indiana, in the Midwest. If you've never been to the Dubois County Museum, you've got to go just because of the scope of what's there.
Right.
And this room adds yet another element. It's not just a museum always of local things and it's like one room. This is huge. Where is the wildlife adventure room in comparison to the museum? You know, I know you go in that first hall.
Right.
Okay.
This room 1, you go in there and then you go down a little ramp into room 2. In room 2, the first thing you see is the big log cabin sitting back there.
A whole log cabin inside the museum.
A whole cabin, yes. A lot of farm equipment, things like that. Well, to the left side of the log cabin, just go straight back, and that's where the room is at. There'll be, I have a buffalo head mounted on the outside of the room, and then there's plaques that go up on each side of the door that has names of all of the people who have volunteered, those who have donated money, those who have provided materials, things of that nature. So you can't hardly miss it, really.
So this room is in the northeast corner of the building?
It'd be the northwest.
Northwest corner of the building.
Yeah,
okay.
Right.
So how big is the room? Is it like?
It's 2,000 square feet.
Wow. Because, you know, the museum is an old factory.
Right.
So you're taking up almost the whole space. You're running out of space in there.
Well, not really.
Okay, got some more room then?
Actually, that building, when to give you just a little bit of history, we were downtown, you know, in Grammsbacher Gutzwater.
Yes.
Across from the library. And we had very little space there, no space for large things. So when Kimball offered to give the building to us, we took it. And a lot of people said, well, you guys are crazy. You'll never use all that room. We're using about 40,000 square foot now for exhibit space.
Right.
So there's a little room left in there, you know.
But probably not too much, because there's just so much in that museum. It is amazing.
It is.
And this is a really neat complement to have as the wildlife adventure room. And it is open during regular museum hours?
Yes, it's museum hours. The museum's closed on Mondays, and then Tuesday through Friday they're open from 10 until 2, and then on Saturdays from 10 until 4, and on Sundays from 1 to 4.
Now, you are looking for some participation from sportsmen and hunters in Dubois County. In what way?
Right. Well, several of them have, you know, they're bringing various animals in, but they really have to get in contact with me beforehand, because I can't go in.
You can only do so many deer heads, right?
Right.
Yeah, okay.
But we built what we call a Dubois County Sportsman's Picture Wall. And so people are bringing in 5x7 pictures of their hunting experiences. Now, this is Dubois County people, and they're bringing this in. And what I'm asking them to do is bring me the 5x7 picture and $10.
Okay.
The reason for the $10 is the frame cost me $7, and I put a plaque under the frame with identification and who it is and so on.
Sure.
And so that covers that. So right now I've got about 40 pictures up. I've got another 40 some odd getting ready to put up this week. And it's probably going to be room for about 150 pictures.
In a way, I guess this is an exhibit that is fluid.
Yeah.
It will be changing as time goes, some things added in and out.
Right.
What a wonderful addition to the Dubois County Museum. And now it's open. So you can go in and see this room. Is there an additional charge, or is that part of the museum admission?
No, it's part of the admission. People have, ever since we started this room, people have come in and they kind of watched the progress of it. The thing that's kind of amazing to me is I've talked to people that came when we started and found out what we were doing, and there are people from out of state, and they've come back 2 or 3 times to see the progress of it. And some of them have said, now when it's done, we're coming back again. We want to see it totally done. So it's drawing people into the community.
Well, the one thing about the Dubois County Museum too is it's really so big that you can't take everything in one visit. You do need to go back just to see something that you missed before and see it again.
Right.
Well, thank you very much for coming in.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity.
Well, we encourage everybody now. I mean, I think that the latest new big exhibit was the Jarvik Hart. That was in, and that's a permanent exhibit.
It's permanent,
and,
yes.
And now we have the Wildlife Adventure Room. But there's other rooms that people will enjoy. The train, which has always been fascinating to people, the train room.
And it's going to be growing too.
Okay, that's getting bigger too. And then you have the village, which is just like towns would have been way back when.
In 1900.
All the murals. And is it the largest farm machinery exhibit in the Midwest?
They tell us that it's the largest indoor facility where machinery is on the inside.
So the Wildlife Adventure Room is full of a lot of stuffed animals, for a better word. You've got birds, bears, 6 different kinds of bears. Is there a gazelle or something, an antelope kind of a thing?
Yeah, the one wall, there's from Africa, what Mr. Fromey got, and there's gazelles, there's the water buffalo, there's zebra, there's about anything you can think of from Africa that he had captured when he was there.
Sounds really cool. Sounds like a great thing to go to. So you'll want to go to the Wildlife Adventure Room. And the museum, again, is open pretty well 7 days a week.
Except Mondays.
Except for Mondays.
They're closed, yeah.
And if you'd like to volunteer at the Dubois County Museum, I'm sure you're always looking for people to help there. How do they volunteer?
Well, all they need to do is call in and tell someone at the desk that they would like to volunteer. There was, last year, I think there was around 190 volunteers that volunteered time at the museum.
Wow.
And just call in and say, I would like to volunteer. And we'd love to have more members. I mean, that's something too.
What is a membership? How does a membership work?
A membership, for $25 an individual becomes a member.
Okay.
For $50, a family can become a member. If it's just a couple, it's $40. They did start charging admission because any big facility or any place you go, you got to pay to get in.
Sure.
And that an individual is $5. It varies, $12 for a family and so on. So if you're going to come in there very, very often, membership is free if you're a member.
Okay.
So you get your money back that way.
That's the way to go.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. We would like to thank Tom Kellams. Tom Kellams is a volunteer at the Dubois County Museum, and he's the guy that's been in charge of the Wildlife Adventure Room, now open. Make sure that you stop by and enjoy the Dubois County Museum. And this note on the Wildlife Adventure Room, they're going to be having a grand opening on Sunday, February 28th. The doors open at 1 p.m. Sunday, February 28th, and the program will start at 1:30. So there's going to be a program inside, somebody discussing?
What we'll probably do is Jim Hagedorn, president of the board, will give a little presentation, and then they've asked me to say a few words, and then we will have everyone to go in the room, and from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock they can wander around in there and see what they need to see.
So while the Adventure Room is open now, the grand opening is on February 28th at 1 o'clock. Make sure you go and attend. Tom Kellams, thank you for being our guest, and thank you for watching WJTS in Form. We're local people watching local people.